Hello, here is our Verbania site analysis. As you can see, we analyze our site from 4 different aspects, which are finally converted together to generate our general principles of design. Now let's begin with our first fragment.
Hi, this is Group 6 first analyzing. From the perspective of my Sim 2, the opinion is that for the design and renovation of this special site, we must determine the proportion of pervious space and building space. If we want to analyze the proportion of green and building area of Verbania, first, we divided the city into almost 84 blocks, and then we measured them. Therefore, we got the sets of data and formed a column chart. Among them, the largest 61% is the data whose pervious area is larger than built, accounts for the total data. It shows that for most square of Verbania, the ratio of green space is more reasonable. Then, we separately measure the proportion of the pervious and built area of the site, showing that basically the two factors each account for almost 50%. Whatever it means, maybe the proportion of pervious area is insufficient. So, my conclusion is that the pervious area ratio of the site is not so much scientific, and it is deviated and concentrated. In for future renovation and design, the pervious space should be more expanded by at least 10% and make it more dispersed and more. That's all.
Now here is the second aspect. Through extracting these two informations of solid with void and street with blocks, some morphological characteristics could be observed. For instance, the arrangement of buildings on each block along the edges in Verbania usually do not present like a solid wall like some other typical European cities. These walls of public space consist of not only building's facade, also green area among them. As a result, the boundaries of each block have semi-private characteristics rather than totally isolated. Furthermore, in Verbania's blocks, cul-de-sacs are used as the main way to interact with the main street and the outer space. That is to say, the connection between two main streets outside the block usually by circular orientation around the block rather than one street runs through the whole block. Otherwise, each cul-de-sac could develop in deep branching and loop roads, which could create different microspaces on different knots of one block. That's it.
The diagrams at the top show the basic climate information of Verbania: temperature, rainfall, and solar elevation angles. Then, below, the diagram on the left is the current sunshine situation of this site. It's just an example as a reference compared with the planning. Obviously, its buildings are all concentrated together. The diagram on the right is the reasoning diagram of the sunshine situation. Consider the shadowing from outside and assume that the internal buildings and other elements are evenly distributed. The sketch at the bottom shows the shadow of Verbania in different seasons and times. Due to the high latitude, the shadow area is very large in winter. There is even an area on the north side of the building that does not get any sunshine. The square with X represents the building itself. The shadow area means the area gets no sunshine. The trapezoidal represents the area affected by the shadow of the building. When arranging the distribution of the buildings, Greenland, and other elements that require lighting, we should take care to avoid the trapezoidal areas. The trapezoidal areas are and the shadow area is affected by the height of the building. So, taller buildings are supposed to place on the north of the block, while Areas with the high lighting requirement should be arranged on the north of the block. That's all.
So now we can move on to the next topic. My analysis is focused on land use suitability. So in the left drawing, we separate the information into 3 layers, which is the building volumes in the surrounding, and then is the network and the land use. In the right drawing, so our analysis is based on the topography. So in the middle, as you can see, there is a red area as we consider not suitable for construction, like commercial buildings or residential building. And in the north, there are some waterfront area which we think could be ideal for landscape. The drawing in the middle, so we did some analysis as building morphology. There are 2 types of existing building. One is 3-story building, and the other is single-story, which has a large span. So that's it. Thank you.
In conclusion, we collected our 4 different aspects and combined them into our site to generate our principles of design. The first principle is more ratios and more equally distribution of green area in the site rather than aggregating on the north side. Second, considering the southeast side has best daylight condition, buildings with main functions could be put along the edge, inserting with different green areas to create semi-private walls of public space, which respects local characteristics. Then we're also considering inserting some cul-de-sacs at different nodes to strengthen the connection with other blocks. Each cul-de-sac has different forms of branching and loop, which could create different small spaces and small units at the different nodes of site. Otherwise, the area with poor daylight near the main entrance could be parking place or other secondary functions. Furthermore, there is an area with steep slope in the central point, which could be arranged as landscape area with orientation function. Finally, there are several shaded areas along the edge, which could become secondary uses parts or just public space for summer use. So that's our analysis. Thanks for your listening.